Last year's Call of Duty Modern Warfare was perhaps my favorite entry in the annualized franchise in quite a long time. It featured a solid campaign, fantastic multiplayer, and a great take on Battle Royale that put Black Ops 4 to shame. It's no doubt challenging to stay fresh and innovative in a series that's so frequently released. It's with that said that Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War had a lot to live up to that sadly feels like a bit of a downgrade this year. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War continues the somewhat interrupted tradition of having a campaign, though Treyarch and Raven have taken some liberties with the structure of the campaign to make it feel unique from last year's Modern Warfare. As the title suggests, the story takes place during the Cold War, and Treyarch has done a great job at capturing that era of history. Cutscenes are displayed with CRTs, everyone is smoking indoors, and you'll see a few historical faces here and there. A few familiar faces from the Black Ops series are here too, though for the most part you'll be focusing on some new faces as you take on the role of Agent Bell. Upon starting the campaign, you give your agent a backstory, naming them, giving them some qualities that affect their personality and gameplay elements, similar to how the personality quirks would affect your character creation in the outer world. Although it's not as expansive as a traditional RPG, I appreciated the touch of customization in the character creator for Cold War. Once into the campaign, you'll be recruited by CIA superstar Russell Adler, an agent that feels straight ripped out from an early 90s action film. He brings you on his team to go after the evil operative Perseus. You, Russell, and along with the rest of the team, go on missions to capture intel and connect the dots to finding what Perseus is up to and stop him along the way. Despite feeling so heavy in terms of being inspired by old action films, this campaign often puts the action on the back burner. More often than not, I found myself talking to my allies, going over the evidence, and finding our next mission as often as I was shooting the bad guys or blowing stuff up. It was somewhat refreshing to have the campaign focus on building characters in more interpersonal moments over just straight up run and gun stuff. While I don't think it was completely nailed with this iteration, I'd love for my conversations and choices to have more meaning in the story, for example. This was a step in the right direction for Call of Duty's writing. Pair these mechanics with a better written story that matches its ambition and execution, and I think you could have a stellar campaign that's equally as entertaining as much as it is compelling. For now, this is an alright attempt, although a downgrade from last year. If you played last year's Modern Warfare, Cold War will feel vastly different. Immediately I noticed that the time to kill was increased from last year's iteration, instantly making the extended mag perk a must-have for loadouts. Throwing grenades now is a risk and reward, as the animation time to throw actually took long enough to the point that if you don't plan it correctly, you'll get shot mid-animation. Lastly, two of Modern Warfare's staple mechanics, the tactical sprint and gun mounting, are completely removed. Tactical sprinting was a great risk and reward of putting weapons down for faster movement. It's something I greatly miss while running down Cold War's large but pretty basic maps. Mounting, on the other hand, proved to be a pivotal asset in the wide open fields while sniping. Both of these felt like game-changing mechanics that should have been new norms for the series, and I was disappointed to see them gone with this one. In many ways, I think that speaks a lot to what Cold War was trying to accomplish with its multiplayer. Rather than continue with what was established with the recent Call of Duty games, Treyarch and Raven seemed like they wanted to go back to what made the original Black Ops so popular. While Modern Warfare took a step toward making Call of Duty feel more tactical, Cold War steps in the opposite direction, trying to go back to the arcade shooter roots. It's been a while since I last played Black Ops. The last time I played anything remotely the Black Ops was more like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 on the Wii U, and though Cold War has elements of those games, it doesn't capture the same magic. Now, I also mentioned maps feeling big and basic, and that's partially because Cold War returns to the basic 3-lane structure of early Call of Duty games. There is less variety in vertical design with these maps, and so more often than not, matches in classic team deathmatch or free-for-all was a game of scanning down the 3 lanes that felt way too big for a 12-player count. The visual quality was also shockingly basic. It may have been the expectation set by this being a next-gen Call of Duty game, but the texture work here is a downgrade from Modern Warfare that, in comparison, almost makes that game now look like a next-gen game. With that said, the ray trace shadows on next-gen consoles is a great addition that does help the visuals stand out, just not as much as they could have with the next-gen release. The audio effects, on the other hand, are still great as ever, maybe less impactful than Modern Warfare, but still great audio design choices here. Now, rolling back to the map design, a lot of the maps here feel like they were a bit too large for most of the game modes, except for the new large-scale game modes like Dirty Bomb. This mode, for example, has you play on giant maps that feel like modified Battle Royale maps. The objective is to find the dirty bombs around the map and deposit uranium collected throughout the game with 10 squads of 4 people each. These modes and maps felt like the best designed new additions within this title, though still modified versions of what probably was a Battle Royale map. For transparency, I was never that into the zombies mode that made the Black Ops series so popular. Firefight modes were never my cup of tea, and although I've grown more fond of them over the years, zombies has never really captivated me, but Cold War's attempt is a worthy adversary. Combining the core elements of what helped establish the Zombies mode along with features from multiplayer like custom loadouts, Cold War Zombies feels like a streamlined version of the core fundamentals. Being able to immediately start a round with your custom loadout, albeit a weakened version that you upgrade throughout the 40-minute round, is still better than starting from zero. It's so down to its core fundamentals that there's only one map at the moment, a revised version of the research lab from Call of Duty World at War, only now way more expanded. It may look similar, but it's larger in scale and complex in design. Those that enjoyed the Zombie series for how wacky it is in presentation and how deep its Easter egg lore is, you won't be disappointed, at least if you don't mind the same voice actors from the multiplayer here. Sorry, there's no random celebrities in this one. Outside of the lack of a local split-screen multiplayer for Zombies, when playing with friends online, Zombies mode this year felt pretty darn great, albeit lacking some much-needed map variety. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War isn't a terrible entry in the series, but when going down the recent entries, it feels like a downgrade from last year's Modern Warfare. There are some interesting ideas implemented with this entry, like new large-scale multiplayer maps, a campaign that focuses more on dialogue and storytelling, and a Zombies mode that from someone that usually avoids it, actually enjoyed it this time. With that said, most of this package feels hindered back by some of the odd execution choices that ultimately make this feel more like a mixed bag of pros and cons, as opposed to a straightforward recommendation.